Hello, my friends. I'm Vincent, and I'm gonna tell you about another hero. It's called Atalanta, and she's a huntress, and she didn't do, and you might think she didn't do anything great. Well, she did do lots of things. When she was born, it wasn't such a happy story. Her father threw her in the wild. He was a king. His name was King Yesus, and like all the other kings, he wanted a son. Boom, he gets a stupid daughter. Then he does the typical dad thing. He chucks her into the wild for a tiger or a bear to eat. And a bear did come. And the bear did not eat her. The bear adopted her. That's exactly what something would happen. Okay. The bear adopted her. The bear adopted Atalanta because the bear was a mother who lost all her kids. And she wanted a new kid. But she can't make a new kid because there is no daddy bear. So, she adopted this human. Not as good as a bear, but still a baby. And this Atalanta, that's not her real name. Her parents didn't really name her. They just chucked her into the wild. This bear did not name her Atalanta either. But Atalanta grew up thinking she was a bear. Little kids, pretend to be dogs or cats or something. I did that when I was a kid with my brother, the origami guy. But Atalanta really thought she was a bear because her mom was a bear. And that's the story of her birth. She kept growing up until she was 7 or something. And when she was 7, 2 hunters came, the same guys that had killed the kids. And what do you think would happen to her? The hunters took her and raised her as a normal human. And that must have felt, and for you and me, that must have felt good. For Atalanta, it did not. She missed her old bear life. And they named her Atalanta. Atalanta means equal in weight. No, she wasn't equal in weight to anyone. Not really. Unless you found an Atalanta clone. No, she was equal to any man in her village. She had spent so many times in the wild, she was unlike any woman the village had ever seen. Her soul had hardened. Her mind had hardened. Her body had hardened. You get it? And she was growing up. But she ran into the woods again. And then she went back and then she found a nice place to live. Where you got all the natural resources you need to live. But this guy called Meliagar. Oh yeah, here is my marker. This is not the good marker. This is the good marker. Meliagar. This guy was recruiting a hunting team. And why was he recruiting a hunting team? I must tell you. His father is an idiot. Why is his father such a big idiot? Yeah, I'll tell you. The father forgot to sacrifice to Artemis. So, he forgot. Gods are born to be sacrificed to. Practically. So, Artemis was very insulted by his actions. He could have just sacrificed a few apples, burned the apples, or burned a few lemons or something. But he didn't. She sent this death pig. And this death pig ran around killing everything. It's called the Caledonian Boar. I don't know how to spell it. Caledon. This is just my guess. And he heard about her. He heard about her amazing hunting skills, her beauty, everything. And he was like, hey, I got a recruiter. I definitely need to recruit her. And he was like, and he went to her. But there's something you need to know about Meliagar. Meliagar there's this log. Meleagar's life depends on it. As long as this is not destroyed, he still lives. Which practically means he's gonna live for like, I don't know, 500 years or something, because the wood is gonna rot away. So you could burn it if you wanted to kill it. Only you wouldn't know what it was. But Meleagar's mother saw the thing. She pulled it out of the fireplace right before it burned. She put it in this special box where it was preserved so that he would not die. And he recruited Atalanta and a bunch of other people too. And then they all went to hunt the boar. Meleagar was like, okay, whoever draws first blood, that practically means, pierce it or shoot at it and wound the big beast. That basically means draw first blood, but that's not the point. Whoever draws first blood gets the boar's hide. The skin of the boar. And that was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And they would never think that Atalanta would get it. But they didn't know Atalanta at all. Atalanta drew first blood. She shot the arrow, and it hit the boar's spine, and it was paralyzed from the waist down. Kind of like you, if you were shot in the back by an arrow or a bullet. And Meleagar killed it. That's the end. And Atalanta got the boar hide. But there are two horrible idiots that did not like Atalanta, and they were not satisfied for a woman taking the big prize. They were actually Meleagar's own relatives. The guys, they were his brother and uncle. The brother's name was, and the uncle's name was, see, their names are all pretty funny. But don't worry, it's not me. I didn't make this all up. And these people took the boar hide in front of everyone and refused to give it back. And Meleagar was like, okay, this has to stop. And he drew his sword and killed Toxius and killed Plexippus. And his mother was like, you didn't. How could you? You know what? You killed my brother and my son. I'm gonna kill you too. And she just, you remember the log? This log, she chucked it in the fireplace. And I told you that this log is his lifeline. If his lifeline is gone, his life is gone. This log disintegrated, and Meleagar disintegrated. And Atalanta ran away into the woods, vowing never to go back to the human world again. Unfortunately, humanity was not finished with it. This story, I like this story because it actually makes you think about how humanity screwed up. And it sure has screwed up. Okay. Meanwhile, this king, Aesop, the one that chucked her into the wild, was like, hey, I'm gonna find my daughter. And he was like, hey, I think it's Atalanta. She fits all the descriptions. Yep, she's very much like me. And he was like, and he searched the oracle, and the oracle was like, yep, she's your daughter. And Atalanta was like, hey, she went to another oracle, and I was like, hey, am I ever gonna get married or ever see the humanity, or ever see like humanity and get in trouble with humanity again? And they were like, yep. And she was like, aw. And Aesop was like, yay! And Atalanta went to Aesop's palace. And Aesop was like, hi, welcome back, let's get you married. The least was marriage. She didn't want that to happen, ever. And she was like, okay, because the oracle said marriage. Marriage will be necessary. You can't ignore it. So she was like, okay, let's race. If I win, you die. And then if you win, you get to marry me. I'll even let you have a head start. 50 paces. 10 paces. So I'll give you an example of what that is. So imagine if this is your foot. And then if your foot leaves the ground, there's a footprint. This is one pace. And actually, this is not one pace. The distance between the feet is the one pace. And Atalanta was like, okay, 10 paces of me. And her paces were like, for so much living in the wild. This is one pace. Then it moves on from 10. This, and then this means the suitor is the guy that wants to marry Atalanta. The suitor is gonna go and try to win the race. So he died. But if he loses, he dies. If he wins, he gets married. The first suitor. Well, a bunch of others were like, okay, no woman is worth this trouble, and they left. They married some other pretty girls and lived a happy life. The others that stayed were either really dumb or either really brave. Okay, the first suitor died. Second suitor died. Third suitor died. All of them died that week. Next week, okay, we'll be back next week. She said, and then she said, we're gonna keep trying until I get married. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna keep racing till I die. And then, but one day, this guy was a son of Poseidon. Oh, well, not a son of Poseidon. His grandfather was Poseidon. And you see, this guy was like, hey, Atalanta looks really pretty, I'm gonna get married. And he was like, but she's so much faster than me. What do I do? So he went to a shrine of Aphrodite, which you may recall is a troublemaker. Sorry, no, not troublemaker. She's the goddess of love and beauty. And love and beauty, according to her, is irresistible. Okay. He was like, Aphrodite, help me. And Aphrodite was like, okay, what's the problem? I need to defeat Atalanta in the race. And Aphrodite was like, okay, here are these apples. Why are you giving me these apples? They are great, like me, and they are irresistible. These apples will buy you time, but don't forget to give me credit. Okay, fine. Then he went to win his race. Sack lunch. He was like, this is my lunch. I'm gonna eat. And Atalanta was like, sure, why not? I run with knives, you can run with sack lunch. So they started, 10 paces away. He started running fast. And then she got her knife and prepared to stab, but suddenly he was like, oh, drop the fruit. And she picked it up because it was irresistible. Aphrodite wasn't lying. Aphrodite was like, ha, he fell for that pig. Aphrodite wasn't lying about the apple thing. She really went to pick it up. And he was like, woo, I'm halfway out. But suddenly she was like right behind him again, so he threw the other fruits and she was like, oh, I'm gonna grab that one again. And then these two. Then it bought him time again. Then it bought him time again. He was now 3/4 around the racetrack. God, I'm losing space here, right? See? He was here. If the starting line is here. He was only a few feet away from the finish line. And she was about to kill him. And he threw the last piece of fruit. And you can guess what happened. She picked it up, he won. So this is practically a cheat game, which is the exact type of what Aphrodite would do because she's such a big, horrible idiot. Okay. and they got married. But this guy forgot to do one thing. He was so in love with Atalanta that he could not remember to give Aphrodite the credit for his things. Aphrodite was like, "Hey, that's mean," and then she cursed them. She cursed them. She destroyed their ethics and made them only think about their love. And Zeus was like, and they desecrated a shrine that belonged to Zeus, which is the king of the gods. And Zeus was like, "Hey, no one can do that in my shrine. Only I can do that in my shrine." Then he turned them into lions. These lions roamed around free, unable to be caught because they were both hunters once. Former hunters, they knew all the tricks. They knew where all the traps were. So they just stayed as lions until they died. Is this an unhappy ending? Not really. She ended up free and with a good husband. And they had a nice child that did not kill them. That did not kill them. Good. Because there are some cases in Greek mythology where the girl turns into a wild animal, and the son is still a son, and he becomes a hunter, and he kills the girl because she is a wild animal. So those sad things happen, but this is Greek mythology. This is ancient Greece, where people didn't really believe in human rights. And that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe.